Fellow St. Lucians, today this Senate is being asked to authorize a series of loans and guarantees that will commit the people of St. Lucia to hundreds of millions of dollars in new borrowing. When the figures are examined carefully, these motions represent over $600 million in principal debt. And when interest is included, the repayment obligations approach $1 billion for the people of this country. The opposition does not oppose development. We support investment in water infrastructure, roads, ports, and education. But borrowing must always be accompanied by transparency, accountability, and respect for the taxpayers who must repay these debts. And that is where the concern arises. Several of the motions before this Senate ask Parliament to approve loans without presenting the full project details, cost analyses, procurement plans, or economic impact assessments. Parliament is therefore being asked to approve massive financial obligations with incomplete information. That is not how responsible governance works. Take, for example, the loan for the John Compton Dam raw water pipeline replacement project. Water security is vital to our country. But the government has not presented a comprehensive national water management plan. What percentage of water produced by our utility is currently lost through leakage? What measures are being taken to reduce non-revenue water? If we replace pipelines without addressing systemic inefficiencies, the taxpayers may end up paying twice for the same problem. Similarly, Madam President, we see additional borrowing for the Millennium Highway and the Patience Water Supply Project. When additional loans are required, the public deserves to know why the original budgets were exceeded. Were the engineering estimates flawed? Were contractors unable to deliver within the agreed price? Accountability requires answers. Then we come to the guarantee for the reconstruction of berth number 4 at Port Castries. This is not merely a loan, it is a government guarantee of more than $121 million. If the revenue projections fail, the risk ultimately returns to the taxpayers of St. Lucia. That is why Parliament must insist on seeing the financial projections and revenue models before assuming such obligations. But perhaps the most concerning motion before this Senate is the loan of nearly 95 million United States dollars from the Export-Import Bank of China. My dear people, this is the largest single borrowing request on the order paper. Yet the motion describes the purpose only as financing national development projects, initiatives, and COVID-19 mitigation measures. That description is simply too vague. Parliament should never approve a loan of that magnitude without knowing precisely which projects will be financed and how the funds will be spent. Responsible governance demands clarity. Brothers and sisters, there is also a deeper principle at stake here. Borrowing money is easy for governments. Repaying that money is the responsibility of the people. It is the nurse, the teacher, the small farmer, the taxi driver, the young entrepreneur who ultimately carry the burden of national debt. Every dollar borrowed today is a tax on the future earnings of our citizens. That's why the opposition is calling for simple, reasonable safeguards. Publish the feasibility studies. Disclose the procurement processes. Provide annual reports on how these funds are spent. These are not partisan demands. They are basic standards of democratic accountability. Development must never come at the expense of transparency. Progress must never come at the expense of fairness. And the people of St. Lucia deserve to know that every dollar borrowed in their name will be used wisely and responsibly. For that reason, while we support the goal of national development, the opposition will continue to insist on greater transparency, stronger oversight, and full accountability to the people of this country. Thank you for listening.